Hello and welcome to Radiance, the podcast, a space where mysticism, modern wisdom, and feminine embodiment meet. I am Dr. Irene. I am a Chinese medicine practitioner, a holistic medicine and women's health mentor and guide. And today, the theme that I want to bring into this space is the theme of perimenopause and menopause. And why? This is because in the past year, this conversation has come into my field a lot through my personal sister friend connections and through my Chinese medicine practice and mentoring programs as well. And this is not a coincidence. I know that it has to do also with the phase where I am in my life. I am 46, and even though I still have very healthy, regular menses, I can feel that I'm beginning to enter the threshold of this powerful transition that is perimenopause into menopause. And the conversations that I've been having are beautiful, insightful, and powerful. And what I notice is that there is so much misinformation and misconception and fear about this transition and going into this later stage of our lives. And this is because we've been programmed by culture and society. We live in a patriarchy system, and the feminine ways, the feminine wisdom is not acknowledged, and specifically this later time in a woman's life, because we live in a culture that reveres, that worships youth and fertility, because we've been taught that a woman's value is only based on their capacity to procreate and to be mothers and to be housewives. Not that that's wrong. Like, that's a beautiful thing, and it's freaking amazing. Mothers are the builders of society, and that's another thing. Like, there's mothers, women are not being recognized of the impactful work that they do every day of their lives, and even in the background, right? Because they're not out there saying, I did this, I did. They're like everyday chores of tending to their children and tending to their families and making sure that everything flows and works. And so, yeah, women are freaking amazing. But there is this fear that as soon as you lose the capacity to procreate, that you no longer have value in society. And this is something that I want to bring into this space so that we can change that paradigm, because that's not true. Because actually, women gain more value when they go into this later stage of a woman's life. And actually, in the old times, women that were bleeding were allowed to take time and space to go into their bleeds. Many traditions, or they had this sacred space called a red tent, where bleeding women would go once a month during their bleeding times, and they would rest and they would share stories. And there is a beautiful movie, and there's a beautiful book called The Red Tent that I highly recommend it. And they describe exactly what I'm talking about. And why was this so impactful for the community? It's because during our bleeding time, it's when we go into this state of our witch archetype and our crone archetype. because it's the time that the veils are very thin and that we can connect to the shadows, to the underworld, to the underbelly of the earth, and to the cosmic energies of the sky. And so we receive downloads. Every woman is a witch, because we have this capacity to create life. Even if if you hear witch and you cringe, I urge you to go and research what the word witch really means. And so it is the time that the veils become thin and you receive these downloads. And then this woman would come out of the red tent and give the downloads to the community and say, like, the garden needs to be moved here, or those cows need to do ta-ta-ta, like, or we need to talk to this person about this textile venture or whatever, right? So they would come and give messages. Now, when women stop bleeding, in Chinese medicine, we say that the blood goes within and becomes wisdom. So that's why I called white hairs wisdom hairs. And I love them. So that blood becomes wisdom. And so you become a wise woman when you stop bleeding. When you go into menopause, you go into that archetype of the witch, of the crone, and the wise elder and the wise woman. So you no longer need to go to the red tent, because that wisdom is with you 24/7. And so actually women would go into council. They would become the elders and the leaders that would give advice, because they were tapped in 24/7 to that wisdom, to that feminine wisdom, because they have lived all their life through all the archetypes of the maiden, the lover, the mother, and now the witch and the crone. And so if you have gone through those archetypes consciously and live them fully, you bring that wisdom with you. And when you enter menopause, it's like you've integrated all of those archetypes, and now you are the embodied and complete feminine archetype, complete in herself. And so in Chinese medicine, also menopause, we call it the second spring. The second spring. And there is this beautiful book called Goddesses for Every Woman by Jeanne Shinoda Bolen. And she wrote another book called Goddesses for Older Women. And what I found fascinating, how she was describing the goddess of menopause, is as the green goddess. The green goddess. Because when you go into menopause, again, it's spring energy. You are being reborn again. So you've gone through all the archetypes. You have to die and let go of the identity of your old self, and you are reborn. And spring is connected to green energy. It's the energy of nature, it's the energy of new beginnings, of rebirth, of sprouting, of, think about spring, right? Like the buds start to spring out. There's this like upward springy energy. And so this happens in menopause. So there's this fear that you're not going to have value anymore. You're not going to have energy. Like you are, like the better years of your life are behind you. And that's not true, because there is a rebirth. And it's beautiful, the parallel of the green goddess of this book with the menopause as a second spring in Chinese medicine, because they have that same wisdom that when you go into menopause, then you are the most juiciest, the most creative, the most wise. So you have a lot to give to the community. But here is the trick, and this is where I am seeing a lot of misalignment and challenges, and it's in the transition. Transitions are hard. I know transitions are so hard. And we see this also in nature, right? Between one season and another, there's always a time of transition. And in Chinese medicine, we know that it's in that transition that our wei qi, our defensive energy, is the weakest. So that's where we need to be very conscientious of our actions, of our lifestyle, of our choices. And if you like bring that lens into a higher picture with this big transition in life, in women's life, that transition of perimenopause is very important to give yourself time and space to be able to go through that shift of identity. And this shift of identity is not only psychological, but it's also in the body, because hormones are shifting. Hormones are shifting. Physiologically, you're becoming a different person. Physically, your body changes, and your psyche goes into a powerful transformation. So think of this, like women go through life living a cyclical, seasonal nature, right? Because they're bleeding every month. So they're going through all the seasons: spring, summer, is ovulation, then they go into the luteal phase, which is our inner fall, and then we go into our bleeding time, which is our inner winter. And so each phase is related to a different feminine archetype, a different medicine, power. So if you have taken the time to know your cycle and to move through the different energetics of the cycle, then you will know that different times of your moon cycle ask you for different activities, different food choices, different social choices, etc. If you haven't, please go to my free womb quiz and take it, because that's the first step to know what type of womb you have based on Chinese medicine principles, which are related to the 5 elements, to the seasons. And through there, you will start to bring more awareness to your cycles. And when you take the womb quiz, you receive free self-care guides, holistic self-care guides, to help you connect more with your cycles and your wombs. So go to the womb quiz. I'll put the link. Also put the link of the books that I mentioned. And so you go through different phases. So you're like in a cyclical life, right? The cyclical pattern. So think of this as like energy with a certain frequency, with a cyclical frequency, no? Like this. And then suddenly your body changes and you no longer bleed. So it's like changing a current. It's changing from like a 80 watts current to going into a 120 watts current. Like you're changing electric current. But what happens is that instead of waiting to be in your menses, or instead of waiting to be in your ovulation to tap into those different archetypes or medicines of powers, because you have a direct current now, because you're no longer cyclical, you're going to be a direct current. You have access to all of those powers 24/7. 24/7. So that's why this is the time that you embody the oracle, the witch, the wise woman, the medicine woman. Before that, we're just practicing. I'm just practicing, okay? So when you get to that, then because you have all that capacity to connect and to tap in to creation and to the codes of creation, this is the time to give advice and to give counsel and to mentor and also to enjoy your life. And this is a time where you're not going to give a fuck also. It's like you don't give a fuck. It is a time of renegotiation. So let's go back to the transition time, the in-between, because you're changing identity, your body changes, your psychic changes, your electrical currents changes. There is a negotiation of how in all your relationships, in how you live your life. Also, because we are getting older, like we are aging and we are closer to death, like that's a reality. our gene, our essence, which is energy that we inherit through our parents and through God, Yuan Qi, the primordial energy, when we are conceived. And that energy is finite. So, and this energy, we've been using it through all our life. So, because it's becoming less and less and less, when we go into perimenopause, we start to make shifts in our lives to be able to use this energy smarter. It's like work smarter, not harder. This applies very, very good in this time of our lives. We need to start to live life smarter, not harder. So having stronger boundaries with your loved ones. This is a time where it's very important to resource yourself, to bring back your energy from places that you've been putting your energy that no longer serve. That could be a job, that could be a relationship, that could be a physical activity, that could be a lifestyle choice, an attachment to a way of life, of an identity, of like a way of looking. So you need to sever that, bring back those resources, put healthy boundaries so that you can utilize those resources for this transition, which is, it's a very powerful transition. If you don't give yourself that time, or you don't consciously renegotiate your relationships in life, you're going to suffer. You're going to suffer. So what we resist persist and create suffering. So we need to surrender into the process. And this brings me to hormonal replacement therapy, because what happens physically, physiologically, is that our estrogen and our progesterone start to descend. They become, we have estrogen and progesterone and other beautiful hormones all our lives, and suddenly, boom, shifts, changes. So that's going to affect our physical physiology. It can affect our sleep and our moods and our skin and our joints and our nervous system and our metabolism. A lot of women put on weight or start to have insomnia or start to have hot flashes. Now, it is normal and expected to have some kind of physical symptoms because we're going through a change. Now, if you surrender to the process and you have lived an aligned life, connected to your womb, connected to designing your life through your moon cycle, having practices to self-regulate, meditating, eating healthy, sleeping well, healthy relationships, connected to the earth, this transition should not be so hard. Now, if you live a high stress life, it's going to be challenging because stress affects hormones very powerfully. So if you're one of those persons, maybe hormone replacement therapy will be beneficial because symptoms can become very intense, and so they can give you a little bit of ease. But if you can lean into the uncomfort and trust the process, that it's a transition, hormonal replacement therapy will delay the transition because estrogen and progesterone are supposed to go down to step into this new phase. But if you keep giving your body estrogen and progesterone, then it's going to take longer for that process to be completed. So it's your choice. Again, I'm all about sovereign health, sovereign wellness, sovereign choices. You know your body best. You know your life best. You know your lifestyle best. What works better for you. But I truly believe that it doesn't have to be such an intense and challenging time. And I think we are hearing a lot about perimenopausal symptoms because we do live in a sick society. Mental illness is off the charts. with everything that's happening in the world. We've been bombarded with so much information. Our nervous systems can't handle it. And especially if you don't have grounding practices, healing practices, if you don't have a team that supports you, I urge you to go to an acupuncturist, go to a massage therapist. We need touch. Go to a chiro to help your spine be in alignment so that Kundalini energy can flow well through your spine. Go and receive cranial sacral. Go and do a Vipassana meditation. Disconnect. Go do the womb quiz. Do the self-care practices to tend to your womb holistically. Give yourself beautiful orgasms. Yeah, this is so important to have a good transition into this next phase of our lives as women. That doesn't have to be so hard, but the thing is that the ego doesn't like change. The ego likes status quo. So this is why we need to be stalking ourselves. Is this true, or am I playing games with myself? The ego likes status quo. It doesn't like change. So it clings to past identities. So it is important to let go, to renegotiate your relationships. This is a time where you need to take care more of yourself. It's a time to be selfish in the paradigm of society, because for me, the most selfless act you can do is to radically take care of yourself. Because if you take care of yourself, then you're showing up with a full vessel in your full capacity, not from a depleted vessel, but from a vessel of love and abundance. And this is the most powerful thing that we can do. What else? So at the end, at the other side of this, it's the green goddess. And the green goddess is juicy, is creative, is playful, it's free. So there is so much to look forward to. I don't believe that this is a time to be scared, to be afraid of. This is our ego identifying and clinging to the past. So yeah, I wish for all women to receive this information and to break the belief system that this patriarchal society has infused in our psyche, and to see as menopause not as the end of a woman's power, but as finally embodying that power, finally that power coming back home. So beautiful, beautiful woman, remember that you are powerful, that you are capable, that you are skilled, that you are radiant, that you're magnetic. This is your birthright. And if you need help in this threshold, because you don't need to do it alone, I am here. I do online consultations. I can help with Chinese medicine, consultations with herbs, supplements, qigong, lifestyle choices, hormonal tracking as well. I work with an app with a technology called Mira that helps us track our hormones. So this could be a beautiful way to understand what is happening physically in your body with the shifts and changes. So I'm here. If you want to just do it, if you're not ready for that, go do the womb quiz. And that's it. Sending you lots of love, many blessings. Ciao for now.